Good morning, Sri Lanka. Welcome back to the show. We have on the show today, later on, we will have the CEO of the Rugby Football Union, who is Mr. Alistair Savaramuthu, and he'll be speaking to us about the recently concluded Tri-Nations Serendip International Cup 2013, which happened at the Racecourse Grounds earlier last week. But right now we have with us a lovely lady on the show, and if you missed the last segment, she is Lakmini Senadira, who is an environmental activist, and she's also attached to a very important organization called the Carbon Consulting Company. Now I need to ask you, Lakmini, about this particular organization that you're attached to and you're working with now. What's the objective of the Carbon Consulting Company?
So initially Carbon Consulting Company started in 2008, mainly started with 3 directors, Mr. Subramaniam Iswaran, Mr. Fasal Faus and Professor Mohan Munasinghe, which is the only Nobel laureate in Sri Lanka. And so they initially, the main objective was to help the industrial sector or the organizations to be more environmental responsible, help them to go green. So one of the lacking part in Sri Lanka at that time. So initially they wanted to start with the carbon footprint assessments, which is the GHG, which causes the global warming. Now it's a big issue in the world. So it mainly linked with the resource consumption actually in organization. So then they move on to the other areas as well, water. So water efficient management, they introduced it, and then the waste management, and there are a lot of stuff like we consult on other areas where our client is interested to go ahead with it.
So it depends on your client, of course, but I think we have to talk a bit more about global warming. Now, people are aware of what the phenomenon is, but I think many people don't know what the consequences of global warming will be, and if we continually increase little by little the temperature of our atmosphere, what are the things that can happen to our planet?
So global warming mainly causes because of the greenhouse gases. Like the main cause for the global warming is greenhouse gas emissions. It increases the Earth's temperature. So now in earlier we had balanced temperature in our world. So when it increases, so the balance get disturbed. So that's why now these consequences we are facing. So when temperature rises, most of the glaciers in the Arctic and Antarctic will be like melting. Most of them now you must be hearing those things. So because of that, there are a lot of things will be happen. Sea level rise. So island like us in future, we
that's
don't
a
know
big
what
problem
will happen.
For us, definitely. And
so
even the Maldives, and I've heard that
they will
be
underwater maybe another 20-35 years if we don't do.
So, but that's during our lifetime.
Yes, can be happen, because now there are studies. There are studies because in Sri Lanka also in certain areas the sea waves have been like changing. So from the western side, the sea coast has come into the land area, but from the other side there are differences.
I've heard about this, but now when she said it, I'm kind of scared.
It does sound scary, doesn't it? And I think you have to
relate
put
it
into
a little bit more,
and yeah, definitely.
Is there any way that we could reverse it? I know I'm a layman at this, since I don't know. Is there a step that everyone at home, the normal people, the normal citizens of the country can incorporate, to get into the zone?
I don't think we can reverse it, but I think
we can do something.
We can manage it.
How?
Yeah. So only thing, if we can reduce the emissions. And I'm not going to mention other environmental impacts, because since it's global warming mainly caused by the GHGs. So simple things we can start as an individual, in the household level. So I think many of you have heard of these things, but they are not practicing it, I think.
Yes.
electricity consumption. If you can save electricity, then you will save GHG emissions.
And there were damages on the ozone layer as well a couple of years back, and I think that has reduced to a certain degree, is it?
Yes. Now it has been reducing most of
Again,
the
because
Australian.
most people are aware.
Yes,
Exactly.
Because
You were
now
speaking about how people can implement different methods in their households.
in households, main thing is like main energy sources we are using. If we can control or we can use it more efficiently, then you will be helping to reduce global warming. And then the material consumption, would like to mention it bit more, because most of us now, we are not considering the material consumption in sustainable manner. So if we can more simplify our day-to-day activities, like when we are going to the work, if we can use the public transportation rather than going your own vehicle, so then that will be a best practice in your life.
So little ways, I think, not big asks, small things go a long way. And I've heard this, I don't know whether it's right or not, because most of the households have a computer or laptop at home. It's always recommended, and it's a must, that you actually take off the plug as well, even if it's switched off. And if the plug is plugged onto the socket, there is still a level of electricity consumption. Is it right or wrong?
Actually, if you can switch off from the switch, then it's fine. But if you switch into the what we call machine, then the small LED lights consume energy. That's why we are saying
I see.
even though we switched off from the computer, some lights are still switched on. So that's why.
So even if it's switched off, it should be
if you
switched
can plug
off.
the
There should be 2 offs.
yes.
We got it, Banu.
Yeah.
We are putting it there.
Just setting the record straight. If
Just
by any
setting the
chance you
record
didn't get it,
straight.
Amaya.
But again, then there are so many other things I'm sure that you can do as well. And what about in corporations? And we're talking about households, but there are so many people involved in corporations as well who are watching the show. And what are the things that you can implement in your office environment to really reduce your carbon footprint at the end of the day?
Yeah, mainly in office environment, 50% of their carbon footprint or the greenhouse gas emissions are from the electricity. So at the generation point of the electricity, we emit GHG. So if we can reduce, same like in household, if we can reduce the consumption of electricity, then it will be a saving. Then the next is transportation. So not only the business transportation, but employee commuting also we have to take into consideration, because employees, so if we employees transport by their own vehicles every day, so then
that again is a problem, and maybe the company can do something to have
most
a
of the
carpool or
companies,
something
actually
like
now I
that.
must say, because most of the companies are concerned now, they are going more into the sustainability, so it's a good trend actually. So
And I've heard of companies setting up washrooms for their employees who cycle to work. So then the employees can cycle early morning to their workplace, and then they can have a wash and get into their workwear, and all the facilities are provided there. So I think it's happening abroad quite frequently.
Yes,
especially in Scandinavian countries, Norway, things like that. But again, something that we can implement on our
And I think
small island as well.
Exactly. I think we are adapting to that going green policy everywhere.
Yes. In most
You
of
see a
the
change now in the way people
yes,
are
in
thinking.
industry, yes.
Okay.
Maybe because of the several reasons. One, most of the apparel sector and other who are dealing with international arena, so they have they are demanding it to be more sustainable.
I see.
Most of the industries go for that, but some other hotel sector, it's kind of a competition. They want to be more sustainable than others, so that is also in a way it's good. So
A little bit
I
of
think
healthy
I see a lot
competition
of
that benefits the environment.
Yes.
Okay, I want to add something, Amaya.
Go for it, Banu.
Switching the gears a little bit here, I'm not grudgingly admit that a lot of women are in this field more than men, and I'm not very happy, and I'm not the most proud when I say it, but is there any reason for that? And since you are a woman in this caliber, you're a woman who will just stamp your feet and be like, I want to do this, I want to work for the country and be a star in what you're doing, because you are. And tell us your role, exactly what you're playing as a woman, because I know for a fact that you know, you need to get it absolutely right on spot when you do something huge as this?
For this like kind of environmental activities, I don't think gender matters. Everyone
Exactly.
can-
There we go, Banu. Great answer from Lakshmi right
Yes.
But
Why?
But I think women are more responsible. Like
No.
there. You can't ask her the question and then say no. Now let's
I'm not,
her,
I'm
let's
not
her
saying
answer,
no.
Banu.
I'm like
Come
no with a
on.
question
it's
mark.
not that
no.
I'm telling you're not
Yeah.
irresponsible, but I
Yeah.
think because we like in household level also we
Yeah.
have lot of responsibilities. We have to we have lot of things to
Yeah.
fulfill. So
So I'm more accustomed to
yes, more concern on those things. That's why I'm telling. But I of course I love, because I feel that I want to do something for my country. So that's why I started doing these things. So now as a person, individual person also, I would like to do a lot of like day-to-day activities, doing it more sustainable ways. I like maybe
Give us some examples of what you do in your day-to-day life where you
Taking
have
the
adopted.
professional world aside,
Yeah,
Amaya, in the
exactly.
personal life, she does so much to effect this, what we're talking about. Yeah, so tell us those steps that you take in your personal life, yeah?
okay, all the things I've mentioned earlier, to use more electricity consumption more efficiently, waste. We are like, after I did all this environmental and after I graduated, I planned to sort our waste at our home. So now my mother is having a compost bin, so she's preparing compost, all the food waste, and we are sorting other wastes and we are giving it to recyclers. And water also, personally I use like simple things I do when I'm brushing my teeth. I turn off the tap. Those things, simple things I'm doing. And whenever I can, I use the public transportation. And those simple things I use. I don't use much. Not like what we call. I'm not.
She's a very simple lady here.
Yes,
on the
that's
show,
the thing,
and
I'm
there's no overindulgence.
Yeah, if you can like use less material, we can do it very easily, because most of the youngest, they use 2-3 phones. So that's like when we extract these minerals or the metal, it's non-renewable, so it's one of, so once it gone from the earth, we can't use it. So if we can stick to reusables and repairing, those things we can do. So that mainly simple lifestyle pattern.
And also whenever you go on the road, there are so many, you see a lot of open taps. You close it. Why? It doesn't, you know, it's not consuming anything. You don't really waste any energy or whatever. You go there, close it, that's it.
And you feel better about yourself at the end of the day. But now you're speaking
and I'm very
about
proud of myself, because I always do that whenever I say that.
high five, Banu, virtual high
Virtual
five.
high
All right. Now since we've done that, I have to ask you though, now when it comes to using public transportation and things like that, again, the government then has a responsibility to provide great public transportation as well as good infrastructure for people to use, where they can minimize their carbon footprint. So especially as a developing country, do you find that we have taken a lot of steps, and what are the other steps that we as a country can take to really bring this mandate forward?
Yes.